On behalf of NGO Saahas, I am happy to have this opportunity to invite you and introduce our new webinar series, Circularity and You. This is going to be a bringing together of experts, entrepreneurs, and active citizens to explore the topic of circularity and you. Why circularity? Today, whilst we talk circular economy, we see that even packaging, a simple thing like packaging, has such complex materials in it. We're told that packaging is paper-based, but actually it has plastic and other complex materials in it. So we as consumers today therefore have to push both industry and government to walk the talk when it comes to circular economy. And come with me therefore so that together we can explore and make the necessary shifts where we put environment and value to the environment right at the center of our consumption. Thank you.
Thank you, Smita. So as explained by Vilma in brief, while circularity as a concept has to happen at very large scale, but the government and businesses will act only if the general public asks and demands these solutions. And that's where all of us play a very important part in this. And that is the idea behind this web series, that we increase knowledge about this topic that will empower you to take the right decisions and be able to propel action on circularity. So why have we decided to launch with circularity in textiles? For two reasons. So one, textile is becoming as big a problem as plastic packaging in terms of volume, very poor recycling rates, very high water footprint. It is one of the third largest sectors in terms of water consumption. In terms of carbon footprint, the load is almost as much as transport sector, which is one of the highest carbon footprint sectors in the world. And recycling rates, take a guess, very poor. Europe and US do report higher reuse and recycling rates, somewhere between 15 to 20%, because they export a lot of these goods to poorer nations like Africa and poorer countries in Asia. But just to give you a number, in Singapore, the recycling and reuse rate is as low as 4%. Rest is all incinerated, it is burnt. So this is a sector which is consuming a lot of resources and is hardly circular. Everything is linear. We make tons of it. 80 billion garments are being produced yearly. So 10 garments per person is the average. Old children, old people, all put together, average number is 10 garments per person. So today we will explore what can be done at various stages, from selecting sustainable fabrics to how to use them and how to dispose them. And we have experts from all these areas. We will start with introducing the speakers here. We have Anju Kadam, very well-known, very inspiring, I would say, influencer. She is famous for her movement, which was called 100 Saree Pact, and made a big difference in looking at this garment as a daily wear garment rather than just wearing it for occasions, and building a connect beyond just a garment. So very interesting story. She has been a TED speaker and inspired many people to connect back with the very important garment, saree. And then we have Samira Satija. She is an entrepreneur. She has an organization called Astha Trust, which is meant to promote repurposing and upcycling of textile waste and leftover fabric. She does other sustainability activities also, like the Crockery Bank, and she is also acting Haryana State President for Bioenzyme Council. A very warm welcome, Samira. Next person is Hina Palkar. So sustainable brands, sustainable textile brands are very important, in contrast to the fast fashion goods, which are right now riding the garment space. And that's where Hina comes in. At this young age, she has founded two organizations, I Wear Me and Indiso, and will be able to throw some insights into what are the different types of fabrics and why should we choose one over another beyond just the economic aspect of it. Finally, I have Astha from Saha Zero Waste. Astha is the associate lead for Circular Textile and Saha Zero Waste, and she has been not only driving end-to-end collection and I would say recycling, reuse of textiles. She has been instrumental in setting up India's first textile recovery unit in Bangalore. And she also works on training capacity building of the waste workers to sort textile waste. So thank you all of you. Without wasting any more further time on introductions, I'll jump to ask this very important question from Astha. A lot of us cut down on our guilt of overconsumption of clothes by donating it either to our house help or to orphanages. So, to enlighten our audience, what really happens to the clothes that we donate?
Um, I'm sure I'm audible.
Yeah.
So, very good evening to everyone who's joining in. So, when we talk about textile or clothes that we wear, and what we feel that now it has sort of come to a end of life, we usually sort of give it away. The fact is that all the clothes is not something which reaches the right person to be worn. We never sort of put a thought around that if the maid will fit in it, or if the person requires that garment. We usually give away clothes which might not be required or usable for them. So, like for an example, a Zara dress or a tank top or a mini skirt or a short or maybe like a track pant, or a tailor stitched kurta. What will a maid will do of a tailor stitched kurta or a blouse for the fact? So everyone is very different in their sizes. So one, we are not very conscious when we sort of give away, and that ends up to throwing in pile or giving in pile, giving away, thinking that okay, we are doing good. But it happens so that the material, when it reaches to the NGOs, they feel very burdened to sort of use it. They are not able to use it. There is approximately 20-30% that they can use out of this mix of garments which people are disposing at, that too at a metropolitan city, within metropolitan city, and the rest of it is something which is left on them to sort of deal with, which then sort of percolates down to either it will get into like a second hand market or not. It might be sort of disposed in a very wrong way or be dumped into a sort of a landfill or a water body. So it's not easy for them to also take a decision, but they also feel burdened with the type of clothes that we are disposing today.
Yeah. So, see, if we compare this waste category compared to other materials, say metal or glass, why is the circularity or recyclability poor for this industry? What are the barriers? Why is it not getting, why is it not able to come back into the system? What are the key challenges from the industry perspective or the process or technology perspective?
So one, we don't have a disposal system for textile. It's
Mm.
not something which is cut out separate saying that it is a plastic, it is a type of plastic or a glass which has to be sort of disposed separately. There's no value attached to it, which is second, because the waste workers or the workers who are collecting your waste, they always look for the valued product and then sort of sell it, and then there is like a market value chain creation for it, because there is a value. If there's no value, they don't find any value and they throw it out, and hence leads to the dumping or sort of over consumption or throwing it out. And we have very informal recycling systems which support recycling of certain type of textiles, not all type of textiles. A tailor will dispose in a very informal way. A tailor cuts because it is a amalgamation of so many types of different composition, no one can sort it. It will take ages for someone to sort it, and no one will find value to sort of recycle it back. It won't have strength to be recycled. So it goes again lost. When we come to low value production waste from factories, that also gets lost because you have polyester and other sort of composition mix. You have viscose, lycra, cotton mixed together. So for that also there is no value. So they will only throw it out rather than sort of selling it to someone, or they will downcycle it if possible. And then you have post consumer, which is again post consumer. We don't have disposal system. We will give it to the kachra wala if our mate will not take it. We will, or else we will throw it out with the dry waste, wet waste. The moment it gets to the dry waste collection system that we have, it is tend to that it will get soiled. Moment it gets soiled, how much can you recover? How much can you recover from a material which has been sitting for 10 days, 20 days, 30 days, or maybe a year in a dry waste collection unit where it is soiled or has that smell or now is stained because where it is kept. So it becomes we don't have that system. Now we are building that system with different organizations coming together. There's so much of spotlight on textile waste, domestic textile waste, because recycling has been primarily for the material which has been coming from outside, imported. And now we are putting focus into why are we not using our own material. There is so much of material. We do understand it is a low value material, but it is generated by Indians. It is our own material that we are generating. So why are we not looking at it? And now there is conversation and trials and pilots. There are recyclers who are now coming ahead and saying, okay, fine, we will try to recover some material out of it, make product out of it. So yeah.
So clearly, very much similar to plastic waste, isn't it? Mixing of materials, you're not able to detect it. And
Yes.
also having a dedicated reverse supply chain, that, you have dedicated focus collection, rather it coming with mixed with other waste category, which is messing up the quality of the product. And I believe you guys are putting a lot of effort in dedicated collection and then dedicated channels for reuse, recycling. So if you can give a description of, if you do one collection drive in a RWA, what happens to it? What are the numbers looking like? How much gets reused? How much gets recycled? What all happens after that?
So there's a little different scenario. I'll just give you a consolidated number. So
Sure.
there are 2-3 places we collect from. RWAs also we collect from collection centers also. Collection centers sometimes have a more reject percentage, only because sometimes it gets soiled and the system is yet building. It's just like a very nascent stage where we are building that this type of sorting is required, this type of recovery is required. So it's taking a lot of time for them to understand on ground that how the collection is done, and then comes to the facility. So once the material comes to the facility, we have sorting process depending on the condition and the quality of the garment, and then it is sorted either for a rewearable or a non-wearable. The rewearable part goes to swap or a thrift store, or to a second-hand market. So if a garment is lightly worn or can be again used by someone, it goes to a second-hand market where there are people who can sell and make some sort of earnings out of it. And the non-wearable then again sorted into the categories of recycling, downcycling, or upcycling. So there's a small percentage that we work with for upcycling, where we work with self-help groups, provide them with material and tell them to make products out of it, which we bring them back. Recycling, downcycling depends on the solution that we have. We have cotton recyclers in India who can take cotton mixes to certain extent, and they can work with post consumer, who are right now currently sort of agreeing to. And then we have downcycling. Downcycling is again sort of shredding it. This can be the other blends which we don't have solution for right now, can be downcycled, made into a couple of products like your cotton filling, mattress filling, felt, non-woven material. So low value waste which can again come back into a product form. And there is small percentage, like around 10 percentage, which comes to reject, which is again soiled, stained material, which cannot be sort of recovered, or there is hygiene issue or too soiled for recovery. So we have around 20-30% which is in reuse category, so goes to thrift or to sort
Secondhand.
of second-hand market. And then we have around 3-5% which is upcycling, and then we have 40-50% which is your recycling. So now recycling is increasing. 2 years back when we were working, we were literally having recycling of 20-30% because there were no recyclers who were agreeing to it. So we never used to put it in a bucket. We were struggling to sort of find solutions around it. And now it's the time that, since a couple of them have said yes, there is more and more sort of understanding getting developed on ground, that what material will recycler take, how deep can we do the sorting for the recycler to recover the material better. Yeah.
Yeah, so good that recycling is picking up. But, clearly hearing from you, I doubt the 80 billion number that we are, producing every day, every year across the world will have market for reuse or recycle goods. So that will remain challenging. And
Yes.
hence, I think the importance of using your garments for a longer period, uh, becomes paramount in addressing this problem. And that's where I would like Anju to come in, because if we talk about uh, longer period of usage, there are two important things. One, the material should be long lasting. And second, the design should be such that it can last you, through your periods of thinning and fattening up. It can, it can, last through your different phases of liking this style, that cut. So sari brings in a lot of versatility. So Anju, tell us that, through this pact, you were able to obviously popularize sari in, for different occasions. It did help connect people with the garment, to come to a stage where you start loving it, and hence you take care of it, and hence you wear it more often. And, that's where that, the value for some material comes in. So eager to hear your stories and inspiration behind this campaign, and what was the impact. And
Thank you, Divya. Thank you for having me, Saahas. Um, Current stage fattening, by the way. But but yeah, the sari is very forgiving. I completely agree with you. While we're talking about saris, I'd also like to sort of remind everyone that it's not just the sari. We need to rewear all our clothes. We need to let go of the shame of repeating. I grew up in a family of four siblings, and three of them girls. And I remember the hand-me-downs were just completely okay to do. There was no shame in that. There was also lesser money in our times. There was less disposable income. So it was also just the practical thing to do. I think the fact that we have put disposable incomes, great for everyone, great for the economy, but the fact that everyone has disposable income now is that the consumerism has therefore increased. So we should also sort of realize where all of this is coming from. And I also want to make one more point before I tell you some stories, and I promise to tell you stories.
we eager.
This neo-imperial kind of philosophy of making us all feel very guilty, and the fact that we can make the change by sacrifice, by being vigilant, by being vigilantes in that sense. I do want to point out that we should never lose sight, and I think you mentioned it, or your founder mentioned it, that we should never lose sight of the fact that the real bad guys are the ones with the power and the profit, and they are not stopping. They are relentless. So I think not just so I think we need to be practical to realize that, our little bit is going to be a drop in the ocean, and that we really need to hold our governance and perhaps policies, like I said, governance and people for profit. We need to ask them questions always, as your founders an active citizen. I think that's the category that I fall in. However, wisdom lies in knowing that every little bit counts.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So
I'll just add here, Anju, one more thing.
Because I don't want our audience to go away thinking, oh my God, I'm a horrible
not
person.
at all.
I'm not doing this. Because
No, not at all.
That's not what we're here for at all.
No, not at all. And that's where I'm also saying that your attitude and your approach to this, where it is not about, curtailing your desires. It is about actually loving something more so
Absolutely,
that you take care
absolutely,
of it.
absolutely.
So
So,
that brings a very different angle to this whole campaign rather than saying, cut down on your, consumption. It's loving what you have. So
it
I think
is, it is, and I think that that is where we need to shift focus
correct.
from not necessarily this fits me well and this is the latest trend, but what does this have? How does this add meaning to my life? I
Correct.
think I was in that stage in 2015 when I started the 100 Sari Pact. What is this adding a meaning to? I was asking questions. Perhaps I was at that age mentally, whatever it was, right? But I certainly feel that with the 100 Sari Pact, we kind of brought to focus back. Look, the sari never went away anywhere. I don't want to be staking claim to the fact that I started a movement that, the sari was dying. The sari was never dying.
Yes,
The
yes.
sari was always there and will remain long past us. What we did for the urban woman, and I have to say urban English speaking woman because this was a Facebook phenomena in that time. And then I think Facebook also launched vernacular, don't know why they call it vernacular, but local language
Languages.
as well. Yes. Um, I think what we managed to do collectively as a movement is to bring into sharp focus what we wear is so dear to us, and how discarding something is so easy, but keeping something meaningful adds meaning to your life. So, for example, a sari. I'm going to use this as an example, and I keep stressing that we need to do it with everything, because anyone who says I don't wear a sari, so I can't be doing this, no, you have to. The sari is I have grown up watching my mother wear saris. Even night clothes were a very alien British concept, right? The night suit or whatever. It was a softer mull sari that my mother would sort of change into to sleep in the night.
My
So
mother
my mother
can
is
still
my
sleep
hero.
in that
My
saree.
mother is really my hero. And the women of my house are the heroes of my world, where they have multitasked, worked outside, worked in the house, done all of that. It was always, if I closed my eyes and I kind of thought of a woman, it was this, the image of the 10 armed Durga that was doing many things, and always in a sari, always in a sari. And I think that with the storytelling that we did on the 100 Sari Pact, where we wore our saris and we told the stories of our saris, and I've always said this, that it's not just one story and it's not just one sari, one wear. The sari holds in its folds so many stories, of the stories of the women before us, the stories of the women that will come after us, and our own stories. So in that sense, it is the motif of life that we put on when we wear our sari, and which is why it's so special, whether it's wearing your mother's sari, or and remembering things that she's told you, or how she looked in that sari, or why you bought it. I remember, I used to be a college kid doing tuitions, earning a little bit of money on the side for my mother. I would buy a Co-optex. Co-optex used to be cheap, still remains quite affordable, and I would buy my mother cotton saris, and that was my gift to her. I recall during the Handasai Pact finding one of these saris and wearing it. Simple cotton sari with a little bit of a border. But it was just so special that I could wear something that belonged to my mother, and feel her strength in me. There are stories of love that have been told on the pact. There are stories of little kids who have worn their first sari for the graduation. In
Right.
India, if you have a foreign audience in India, often the graduation is not in gowns, but for the girls,
Saree.
it's in saris. And I think it's sort of a coming of age kind of thing also for the little girls at 18, 17. And just I remember one of the girls wrote saying, my father called me from the back and said, "Hey, 1 minute." And I was like, "Oh my God, now what does he want?" Roll of eyes. And he said, "Let me straighten out your pleats."
Okay.
And he kind of bent down and straightened out her pleats. And she wrote, she said she cried that day because she remembered the image in her mind of her mother and father, of being together and doing things for each other, is him doing the pleats for his mother, for her mother, before they stepped out of the house. Now, I mean, Sorry, these are little bit of a
So I
boom
think,
stories
this is another
also.
angle. This is a garment, to which everybody can connect, from your grandfather to
Everybody,
you.
and it doesn't have to be only a woman. Men have. I have been at Tata's. My day job is that I'm a communicator. I'm communications professional and branding professional, and I have been at the Tata. And I'm using the name. That, by the way, they started the saris after the 100 Sari Pack, the Tanera brand, and they've thanked me for
Okay,
it.
okay, okay.
But I was there for a meeting for completely something different. I was wearing a sari, and I was with the CEO and the marketing team. And as I was just getting up to walk out, the CEO said, "Let me walk you out." Not something that normally CEOs would do. So I was a little surprised, but also how lovely. And I said, "Sure." And he looked at me and said, "Sari number 52." And I said, "What?"
Wow.
And he said, "I follow you, what you're writing. And can I tell you my sari story?"
Yes, please.
So, no, I mean, this was the man telling me, asking me this. Can I
Okay,
tell?
okay,
I
okay.
said, yes, yes. I said, of course, please do. So as we were walking, you know how these large
Corridors.
corridors are, yeah, absolutely. So we were walking and he was talking about his grandmother who would look after him while his mother and father would step out of the house to work. And he says, "The sari, Anju, is my grandmother's love. I have lay down in her lap after school. She has fanned me with her pallu. I have washed my hands and just wiped my hands on her pallu and run away while she's yelling at me. That same sari has wiped my face after I've eaten khana. That lap of my grandmother is that soft sari that she used to wear." And this is a grown-up man who is a CEO of a company who's telling me these things. So my point is that this connect that we have, all we have to do is look for that connect that we have. And again, this is not just Indian. We had women from all over the world. There was this lovely, lovely woman who's in Norway, in fact, who wrote of Indian origin, who wrote about how everything had burned down in a fire in Hyderabad, and she was now living in Oslo, and she didn't have any saris that belonged to her mother. And again, the imagery, of course, was of her mother. She started writing on the 100 Sari Pact, and please call time if you want me to stop. I have many stories.
Smita is tracking.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. No, she kind of went off to Chicago for some kind of meeting, and she got a call saying, "May we meet?" And there was a newspaper wrapped gift with strings handed to her, and she said, "This is your mother's sari." And she said, and she was so shocked. She said, how, what?" She said, "I've been following you on Facebook. Your mother and I went to college together, and she had lent me a sari. And I thought you should have a little bit of your mother back returned to you, and I returned this gift to you." So really, I mean, joyous occasions. When the weaver is weaving the sari, he's weaving motives of strength, of beauty, dainty like a gazelle, strong like an elephant. He's putting blessings into those saris for every bride. And I think that if all we have to do is just look for these god winks, these little god winks that are coming at you saying, why? Well, why is this important for me? If you can ask that question, and really in that you're answering the question, who am I? Who am I? So
Correct.
I just think that, if we can take pride in what we wear, whatever it is that we do dawn on ourselves, perhaps we will keep it better. Perhaps we will wear it more often because they're lovely memories. Perhaps we will repeat and let go of the shame of, I don't know why the shame. There is no shame, but this weird shame that people feel of repeating their clothes. I love it. I love repeating my saris. I feel gorgeous in my saris.
Definitely. If you connect with the garment, you'll definitely go back to
Absolutely.
it. So
Absolutely.
wonderful hearing, I wish we could have a session only for this, the story of your 100
Someday
sari
I'll tell
pact.
you more stories.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And we will, if we have time, I'll, check back with you on some practical tips on how do we ensure we
Sure.
can wear it more often, what are the fabrics which are more long lasting. But I'll jump to Hina now. When you said, who am I? Very similar sounding name of her organization, I Wear Me. When I heard the name, I was very curious, what is the story behind it? So Hina,
Yeah.
but, before I come to her, she is a sustainable fashion brand. This is such a contrast to what it is. It is in line with what Anju was talking about, the longevity of garments and, taking care of them. Fast fashion today is completely opposite. They want you to love the garment while you are buying it in the store. If you step out and junk it in the bin, they'll be very happy with it. Come back inside and buy another one. That's the story. They don't want you to have any kind of connect with your garment. You buy and junk it. That's how they want it. But Hina is, among very few set of brands which are looking at offering better quality clothing, which is long lasting and good for the earth. So Hina, what is it? I know that, you are largely focusing on organic cotton. But the question that people often ask is that, cotton has been, I would say, branded as, very bad with respect to fertilizer and water footprint. And, especially we get this comparison between cotton bag and plastic bag. So how do you justify buying cotton clothing, say vis-a-vis synthetic clothing, when it is also known that synthetic is more long lasting, easy to maintain also? So your take on this
Yeah. So
and the
firstly,
brand name and the branding.
yeah.
Yeah.
So firstly, I would say there's no fabric on earth which is sustainable. There's nothing like that because everything costs earth. Everything we do, every fabric, every piece on earth which is made is costing earth.
Yes.
So when we say we can only choose from something better, like, if we say, okay, we can do comparison and choose better. So when we say cotton is, when you said carbon footprint is very high for cotton, and it uses a lot of water, it has a lot of pesticides. Yeah, that's when the organic cotton comes in the picture because it uses less pesticides and it uses, comparatively less, not very less, comparatively less water. But also, there is something called recycled cotton also. Even those three things are there as cotton. But when we compare exactly from synthetic fabrics like polyester, it's crazy. It's better that we use cotton, because synthetic is completely plastic. We don't want plastic, going into a landfill. It will stay there for 2,000 years around.
Exactly.
Cotton will probably merge into earth in a couple of years. But plastic is no for sure, because, and also microplastic, we should not forget how microplastic is adding into the water, how is it in sea. There are research done, it's already there inside our system, inside the blood, or I don't know if it's true or not, but there are research done.
There are researchers which show that, yes.
Yeah, so it's always better to choose cotton, I would say, than choosing a synthetic polyester fabric. So that's the take I would say. Yeah, carbon footprint is more for sure, but organic cotton is also good. But organic cotton is not very much available in India as of now.
Correct.
So yeah.
So what are any other sustainable fabrics that you can talk about? Anything else which is coming into the picture?
So
okay.
I will talk about from the life cycle perspective,
Okay.
how the fabric is taken a birth and how it ends.
Correct.
So when it comes to natural fabric, cotton is there, linen is there, tencel is there. Tencel is semi natural. It is made by it's generated by humans, but it comes from oak tree.
Okay.
It comes from oak tree. So there's tencel, there's hemp, and there's lots more. Orange peel fabric and pineapple fabric, pineapple leaf fabric. There are a lot of varieties, but if you see from the mass perspective, what is available is mostly cotton and linen, and tencel is taking up a pace in India. So there are brands who are coming up with tencel garments as well. So especially online brands. So if you see from the consumer perspective, I would always say choose cotton. See the label, what you are, like I have got one t-shirt for you guys to show you. For an example, always choose a cotton. See, I'll show you the organic cotton t-shirt. This is GOTS label.
Okay.
So this label certifies is, Global Organic Textile certified.
Okay, so they check end to end from crop to the fiber and clothing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you see a normal t-shirt,
so this is an important information. So GOTS is an important one. Any other accrediting agencies which is like?
Mostly no brands are using in India. That's like, there is Okotex, which is for dyeing, Okotex is also a good certification, which uses only for dyeing, so even for recycled polyester, there is GRS certification. So
Okay.
if there is a GRS certification label on it, you can trust that it's 100% recycled. It is made from PET bottle.
Okay. Okay.
Because
Yeah.
a lot of brands are just saying things and probably not doing 100%.
Yeah,
That's what
certification certainly needs to improve in terms of
yes.
labeling, and
And
certification
strictness,
needs to improve in
it
textile.
needs to be stricter. See, normal fabric, any garment, if you open the inside
Correct.
label, it will say cotton. If it's say
Correct.
100% cotton, still you can buy.
Can
If
you,
it's say 100%,
Hina, can you show it more closer to the camera? Then, just, yeah, this is better. Yeah.
it's 100% cotton.
100% cotton. Correct.
Yeah.
So
So
can we
this
trust
label is running.
100% cotton label?
Yeah, at least
Yeah,
it will merge on earth someday.
Okay.
No,
But
even if
I'm
it
saying
goes to
generally it is reliable. If people are putting
yeah,
100%
it is.
cotton, it is
No,
okay.
no, it is reliable.
Okay.
They won't. So much is not. I have not come
Not
across
messed up.
actually.
Okay.
No, not messed up. But organic cotton and cotton is a messed up thing.
That could be messed up. Yeah.
That's
So
why GOTS comes in
certification,
the picture.
that's where,
Yeah,
certification becomes
that's why
important.
when you're buying from any brand, which says organic cotton, you should look
Correct.
for that GOTS in each
Correct.
garment. Actually, they're supposed to put it on each garment. Only then it certifies. Like different countries, when we cater to different countries, European countries, they're very strict. They want that GOTS label in every country. Every piece of garment they take it from us. So yeah, I think that has to be make. I think my voice is breaking.
Again, no, we can hear you well.
Yeah, you can hear. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So
So yeah,
this,
that's the
So I'm saying, you are also talking about something, which is similar to what Anju is saying. Ki, again, these are, you cannot, again, we cannot make 80 billion garments with organic cotton. So
yes, we
consumption
can.
has to be cut down, then,
Yes.
then probably larger number of people can afford, organic cotton. But in terms of just maintaining cotton fabrics, any tips on that? How do you elongate the life of cotton fabric? Any tips on
Yes.
that?
Yeah. So I would say don't dry it directly on sun.
Okay.
Maybe and dry it inside out, wash it inside out. Those are basic
Okay.
things, if we do
Okay.
these, it will last you longer.
Okay.
And maybe buy from a good quality. See, if you buy it from a brand, it will. If suppose you bought it from a brand and lasted you for 2 years, you actually stick to that brand.
Correct.
They are good at it. So, and if something you bought it and it washed off or it shrinked or it just lost the shape in a month's time or 2 months' time, don't buy from that brand again. So if we get that consciousness inside us, it will really help the entire textile industry. And buying less is always there, but we cannot 100% stop. It's not going to happen for sure. Let's be practical, right?
At least prioritizing that, you buy at least some you buy out of, just fad for
Correct.
something, but some you wear,
Yes,
on a
yes.
daily basis, you want that to be healthier and better for you. So from that
Yes,
angle,
yes.
also organic cotton, wearing that on a daily basis is certainly healthier.
Organic cotton, even linen. I love linen because, and when you merge, when you have a blend of cotton and linen, because linen is very, it requires a lot of ironing. It requires, it looks little wrinkly when after a couple of hours, right? That's the nature of linen. But if it's mixed with cotton, like just some percentage of cotton is mixed with it, it behaves like cotton suddenly.
Okay.
Then it becomes, and it adds the value of linen fabric also. Linen, the look of it, which everybody likes. So I think cotton linen is a good choice to go for. Organic cotton is one. Tencel is good. Even cotton. Just don't buy polyester. Always look at the label when you're buying. So label Padega India is the campaign which is going on, right? We all know it. So I think we should add that in textile as well.
Correct. Yes, that's where he'll take informed decisions and, choose so reading the label definitely becomes very important. And then looking at, ensuring that labels are saying the right things.
Yeah. So mostly they do, because the bigger brand would always do it because they don't want to risk their,
Correct.
until they're so used that nobody can touch them.
Correct. Thank you, Hina. I'll now bring in Samira, who has been waiting patiently. But Samira is doing something which, all of us have done in our life at some stage. We loved making. I remember I used to go to the neighborhood tailor, pull out the, clippings and cuttings and make clothing for my doll. So, so this is something which we have done. And she is bringing in a very different angle to this whole activity. apart from the fact that you upcycle, certain, you reuse certain resources, I would like to read a statement from her vision statement of our organization. It says, we hope to bring back lost practices from the past, be it the spirit of community bonding, art and culture, repurposing, frugality, or even environmental preservation. So very inspiring. Again, giving a bigger picture to the whole initiative than just that you are repurposing something. So Samira, tell us, how do you do this? What is your process behind it? And how are you able to engage and motivate people to come in for such activities?
Well, thank you, Divya, and thank you, Saahas, for organizing this webinar. I think this is the need of the hour. Textile waste is the major part of the waste, especially in urban landfills. So, coming to your question, so Astit came into existence just because we wanted to do something on the ground. We just don't want to make this upcycling and repurposing thing as a theory. We want something, practical, something which people see as a doable thing. So Astitva is a common platform where anyone can come, bring their own clothes, or maybe the leftover shreddings, or any kind of dupatta, any kind of sari, and they want to just upcycle and repurpose it. Other than that, we pick up the shreddings from the tailoring unit and the boutiques. We have so many boutiques around us, and there are a lot of shreddings, I must tell you. And out of those shredding, we just segregate the shreddings as per the color, size, material, the type of fabric. I mean, there are many categories, and then we segregate. And then as per these, categories, we create different lifestyle and functional items. And those items also work as a sustainable gifting options. So that's the base of, Astitva. That's the, simple function of the trust.
But so we also do some such workshops. Often the attendance is not that great.
Okay. Yeah.
So you've been able to do it successfully. What is your mantra? If
Okay.
other citizen here want to take up some of these things, how do you engage participation in such activities?
So I usually plan or curate my activities around the festivals.
Okay.
Like for the Raksha Bandhan, we curate an activity session, making rakhis. So making rakhi out of the fabric waste. In fact, we made rakhis out of the molis, the
Acha.
sacred thread. We got those thread from the mandir. So there are a lot of thread, those moli. So we made rakhis out of the molis. So that's how we do the activities around Rakhi, around Diwali. I'll show you. On Diwalis, we make those buntings. We call it Bandhanwar. We can call it Bandhanwar. So those Bandhanwars. So we create, ask people to come down and then segregate the fabric as per their choice of color or the fabric. So this kind of Bandhanwar. They're very fancy and festive. Can you see? There is little gota, and there are shells. So they seem very festive also. So this kind of activities, I mean, people love those kind of activities. So, and other than that, we have an offer for the mothers whose children have the birthday parties. So they can organize or customize the birthday parties, customize the activities as per the age group of the children. So we for 10 or 11 years, 10 to 15 years age group, we create these pouches. So they make these pouches, and then we do the block printing. Can you see this printing?
Yeah, the fishes.
And then they can just take away this pouch with them. And let me tell you, children love those activities. They segregate there are a whole hell lot of fabric, different kind of fabric, and so colorful fabric. And we tell them this is cotton, this is silk, this is satin, and everything we tell them. So it's a kind of, knowledge for them also. And then there is a life skill also. They get to know how to sew a machine, how to pick up a needle, how to put a button, so these kind of things. And let me tell you, as the general perception is the girls like it more. As per my experience, boys like it anything. They love sitting on the sewing machine. I think for them, it's a machine. They love doing this sewing machine. So that's how we do these activities. And engage more a larger number of people and larger communities. So
Yeah. You were
that's
also
it.
telling a story about a small girl. She went back and
Yeah.
yeah,
She was around 6 and 7 years old, and she came to me, and she didn't know anything about sewing and everything, but she was very keen, and she
correct,
has got a skill.
correct.
So after the session, she was so confident. I mean, after 4 or 5 months, her mother shared a picture with me. She had made a skirt from her mother's dupatta. It was a very
Wow.
basic skirt, and they didn't have any sewing machine. She did all the thing with the
My
needle
hand.
and the thread, and it was so beautiful. And now that girl learned to dye the things, and with the natural dyes.
Correct,
So
correct.
that's how we
Wow.
can create entrepreneurs also.
Correct, correct, correct.
If we tell them these things at the younger age, they are keen to pick up these things and just make them a career option also.
Correct, correct. No, and just the comfort with repairing your clothes.
Yeah,
Nowadays we have just lost this habit of doing small, stitch there or hem
yeah.
there.
Sometimes
It
people
just
throw
gets
their clothes
discarded.
because the button is undone,
Correct,
so they
correct,
don't know how to fix the button. They don't
correct,
know how to fix the simple chain. And we
correct,
tell them
correct,
how to fix a chain. Sitting
correct,
at your home, it's very easy to fix
correct,
this zip.
correct,
So,
correct, correct.
it's a very good, it's a very, very learning process, I think.
Yeah.
I'm also learning, by the way, along the way.
No, that's wonderful, Samira. So because we are running out of time, I wish we could spend more time with each of the speakers and do a dedicated session. But just to summarize, we did share a quick, I would say, technical logistic challenges as to, what are the problems with this sector. Now, Astha also gave an, insight into what are the solutions which are coming at a larger scale. And Anju, Samira, and Hina have contributed to what you can do as individuals and how these things don't have to be this very restrictive, boring activities or ideas which constrain you, which kind of tell you not to do this, but rather how to do it better. How do you make your life more fulfilling with these activities and interventions. So before closing the sessions and taking the questions from the audience, there are quite a few. I just want each one of you, all the four speakers, to give one tip for the audience today, what they can do at individual level with respect to addressing these problems.
Can I?
Yeah,
Oh.
go ahead. Yeah,
So,
Samira.
as per my experience, while picking up the sheddings and everything and working with the waste, I realize there is a bigger problem with the festive clothes or the party wear
Mm,
clothes.
mm,
Normally people take those clothes which are very shimmery, which are very glittery kind of thing for the wedding or the other kind of parties. And trust me, those are not recyclable. So my tip for the our viewers or the consumers, to just be mindful and pick up the clothes. If you want to take a fancy clothes, just go and you have all the rights to wear a nice clothes, but just be mindful while choosing the clothes that at least you don't choose any clothes which has a the sequins kind of thing, the very plastic wala chota chota sitara, the sequin, we call it a sequin thing. Just don't buy that thing or anything which is pasted on the fabric. It just fall off and it just goes into the waterways and again create microplastic and everything. So just be mindful, take any embroidered cloth or any silk material, but please don't buy these sequins wala thing, which has this plastic wala. You can go for glass sequins
very good
or
point.
the embroidered thing, but not this shimmery and plastic wala sequined material that is not recyclable, and the whole 5 meter or 6 meter kind of fabric, it's not going to be anywhere and just ending up into the landfill and
And
creating
yeah,
again
and
the
big
microplastic.
nuisance all through the collection change actually.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
actually.
quite
And the
high.
second thing for the government, I need to tell this. I need
Yes.
to tell this. There is a GST. So I'm so sad to see that all the upcycled or in fact the organic or natural products come under the very higher rate of GST, 18%.
Correct, correct.
18% GST. So whenever I sell my products and people ask for the bill, and the moment I tell them it's 18% GST, they are very discouraged for taking the bill. So that way, we find a way to just sell it without the bill. But in that case, the upcycling or the repurpose activity doesn't come under the, organized sector. So
Correct, correct.
please work on the GST thing and the one more thing, EPR. I strongly believe that textile waste
Textile
should
should
come
bring
under the EPR. I keep on saying this in other platforms also, and I'm saying it here again. Please bring textile waste under the EPR, this thing.
Correct.
That's
So there are
all from
talks
my
going on.
end.
We are also hopeful it should happen soon. But how
Okay.
effective will it be? It's always a question.
Yeah, that's there, but at least it will be
Yeah.
a start.
Yeah. Anju, you
That's
want to go
all from my
next?
side.
I think the one thing that I want to tell people is to take pride in your clothes. You know, and also perhaps to the older lot, I'm asked many times. I've been asked ever so often, how do we get the younger generation to start wearing saris from the sustainability point of view, from the sari being
Correct.
a one fits all, shareable, all of that. I say by being role models yourself. Um, during the back, my daughter was all of 12. She's now 20.
Yeah.
And my daughter decided when I was wearing the saris that she would also wear a sari.
Okay.
And I live in the south. I live in Bangalore, which is the south of India, where it's not uncommon to see young little girls either in a Bharatnatyam sari or just wearing a little bit of a pavada and this. The sari concept is not for little girls
Get
is also
introduced.
quite prevalent, but not in our house.
Correct.
So, and therefore, and I always find this that this the fact that it is a regional thing becomes a poo-poo for all of your teenagers, right? Oh my God, we want to be the Kardashians. Why would we want to be anybody here? But I think wearing and walking the walk and talking the talk is something that we can do. Um, I found that my daughter decided to wear a sari. She wore it higher, she wore it with her sneakers, she wore it with a t-shirt. Let them make it their own. I mean, there's also joy in them making it their own instead of wearing it the way I wear it or the way her grandmother wears it. And ye mat karo, wo mat karo, don't do this, don't do that. Let them explore your history. The sari is our history, is of our subcontinent. It holds within its folds the history, whether it's motif, whether it's print, whether it's mathematics, in terms of the weaving. It really is our history. Let them explore this in their own manner. I think if you find an element of play in what you're doing, it becomes you kind of sort of, it's closer to your heart. And my second thing is, please stop being apologetic in being eco warriors. There is nothing apologetic about. I'm a proud eco warrior. And having said that,
Wear it on your sleeve.
having said that, it's not like I don't have a Zara something or a something. My daughter, she's 20, she's studying in London.
Yeah.
She needs machine washable clothes. She can't do this, but she's carried 3 saris. Main pehnungi, I will wear, and she's worn.
Yeah.
It's a start. The thing is, begin.
Begin, yes.
I think
That's
less
important.
talk, more action. Begin.
Correct. Yes, Astha, you? What's your one tip?
I think I just want to say it out loud that I think we have enough clothes in our world, in India itself, just to we can swap. We have saris. I'm going to wear a sari 20 times, but I know that my mom is going to wear it. I know my friend is going to wear it. I know my sister is going to wear it. So just reuse clothes. Even if it's a Zara dress, it can be worn by multiple people. If you don't have people in the same shape, size, put it for swap, put it for thrift, call it a swap party in your home. And we have seen this culture in Bangalore booming, where people do swap parties at home. They call their friends and do the swap party, exchange clothes.
We have done it in office.
So,
yeah.
Yes. We have made it a culture, a sort of, and everyone loves it. From our CEO to everyone in office enjoys it. Point is, I think we have enough clothes that can be worn by. Why don't we just
the underlining
stick
statement.
to it? Buy only essentials if needed.
I want to add here, at the end of the 100 Sari Pact, all of us had enough saris to last 2 lifetimes, not even one. Right? Because a lot of people were also buying. Now, I always have this conundrum, and I want to put it out there. If we stop buying, what happens to the weaver? It's always in my head. How do we put money in the hands of the weavers, in the artisan, how do we put hands in money in the hands of the sector that is making all of these textiles, embroidery, yarning, darning, all of those things. That is one thing, and perhaps that is a conversation for another time. But exactly what Astha said, by it was a year long, the pact. By August, every gift that was given to me was a sari, whether it was a family, whether it was a friend. It was like, oh, Anju, let's give it a sari. How beautiful, how lovely. I put a stop to it. And I said, I do not want new saris. I want a sari from your wardrobe or from your mother's wardrobe.
Nice, correct.
And that is actually going to be my gift, the fact that you have shared a little bit of yourself.
Very nice. Very
And
nice. Sorry,
I
I'll have to, yeah, we are right there, 2 minutes and few questions are there. Hina, your tip, then I'll jump to the questions.
Yeah, I'll go back to the label reading part. Please read the label, what is there inside the fabric. If it's natural and if it's going to go on earth and merging into earth, it's perfectly fine. So choose cotton, choose organic cotton, choose tencel, choose linen, choose hemp, choose whatever. Don't choose polyester.
Yeah, yeah. So Hina, there are two questions for you. One is that, we didn't mention bamboo fiber.
Yeah.
How is it? Is it
Oh.
better to use? And also
So-
the other, underlining question that most of the organic cotton brands are expensive. How to ensure that they are accessible to, to the masses?
Yeah, so the question says cotton or ecological safer options are expensive. So I'll go to that question first. So why is it expensive? Because actually polyester is very cheap. Honestly, polyester is very cheap. The cotton has a price. Last 3-4 years since COVID, cotton prices have shot up drastically because demand has gone high. We have to, there is fair trade factor which we have not discussed now, but there is cotton prices are high. Like that is why every brand has to make some money. I know maybe some brands are making too much money, but they have to make money to survive. So polyester is too cheap. That's the problem.
Correct. Not that cotton is expensive. Yeah.
The second question says about bamboo fiber. Actually, even I like bamboo really well. Whenever I touch bamboo, it's just like, oh wow. But the problem with bamboo, no, it has been in under radar of all the ecological fabric worldwide because it uses a lot more chemicals, and there are to turn the bamboo fiber.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that.
it's like in under question mark. So I don't know. So I'm very hesitant to use that, put it under sustainable label.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm sure it should be better than polyester at least. Because we can just do comparison. Huh? We can only do comparison. There's nothing. Only what you have is actually the best sustainable thing. What you already have is how everybody said, just reuse. So whatever is there, what you already bought it is the best.
Yeah, more
sustainable
important
thing.
than buying any other sustainable fabric is not to buy, definitely.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean you throw away whatever you have because it's polyester. It's not. If you have bought a polyester already sitting in your wardrobe, please wear that.
Hold on to it, yes, and wear it.
Yeah, hold on for longest possible. Maybe next generation can wear it.
So, Asa, there's question for CPR happening in textile. So, I believe it is coming soon. Any other information from your side? Have you seen any draft policy or anything on textile? Your voice is breaking. Anyway, I'll move to, there's one more question on using washing machine for textile. I think this also, you can confirm, as I understand, definitely the life goes down if you wash clothes in washing machine. And I know that microplastic generation is highest when you wash clothes in washing machine.
Yeah, correct. So every polyester fabric, actually all fabric leaves, even cotton leaves certain portion, we can't see from our eyes. But at least when it goes into water bodies, it would not affect as much as the polyester microfibers would, So we can wash because there's no practical way to not wash it, at this day and age, we don't have time for not.
At least you can use those shorter cycles or,
maybe
if
use
clothes
it
are not too
times.
dirty, you can use that wool wala cycle, which doesn't tumble too much.
Maybe quick koala cycle, or use 2-3 times, a top like this, which I wore it just now. Maybe I'll keep it
Hang it,
And,
inverted, yeah.
yeah, hang it in the air. So what happens, whatever, you think
Correct.
is the sweat is gone inside, it will
Correct.
go off.
Correct.
Let's trust the nature.
Correct. Yeah, if Astha is in, she can give this information on who buys from thrift stores and swap stores. Otherwise, I can give my bit of information. Yes, thrift stores are still, large number of them are still being, Astha, you can answer. You're here, you can answer this. Video is still freezing.
I think she's frozen.
Yeah.
No, I will go ahead.
Yeah, Astha, now you're back. Yeah.
Okay, so it's just people like you and I who can go to thrift store and buy. Thrift store has branded clothes or to vintage clothes, everything, all what we are sort of trying to sort of refresh our wardrobe, and we put it out. So anyone from a new generation can go. People, it's not something which is very highly priced also. It starts from 50 rupees to 500 rupees. So it's not something which is expensive. You get a Zara top at like 250 rupees. I think it's quite economical. Buy
Correct. So we'll end with one final questions which we had put for you, Anju. If we can have a Mundu pact also, the similar question: should the world go back to drapes for both men and women, at least for a few decades? This is the final question. We'll wrap with
My
this.
question is, force has never made people obey. So how do you actually implement this? And I come back to what I'm saying. Let's wear it more. Let's make it normal to wear our saris, and people will begin to see the aesthetic, ask you questions. So many people who ask me, you don't find it difficult to wear a sari? I'm like, give it a shot. Wear it 3 times, 4th time it's easy. Not. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know about enforcing something like that and saying let's go back to drapes or whatever. Let's encourage drapes for sure. How do
For
you
men and
enforce?
women.
How do you enforce? Oh, for men and women. I know some men who wear beautiful saris as dhotis.
Correct. I don't know how we were discussing this
pleats
yesterday.
and a kurta, and they
Yeah,
look
in my feed, a lot of
gorgeous.
dhoti drapes came in. So.
They look gorgeous. I think men look gorgeous in saris, and they make it their own.
Correct.
Yeah. So all for Mundu Pact.
Good. We hope some audience here, takes it up and launches it. We'll be all for it. All of us will support it. Please take the initiative. With that, I will close. I would like to thank the speakers for very interesting and engaging conversation. I'm sure audience would have benefited from a lot of nice stories and insights and tips. And we'll be keen to get your feedback on the format. Do you like the topic? Did you like the selection of speakers? We'll be very happy to take your inputs on this. Feel free to reach out to our teams on various social media handles. The recordings will be available at various